and welcome to The Print. Well, this is a very important question that we are asking today and we're discussing on YouTube. And this is about the entry of women in Sabarimala. Now, there was a very interesting development where the Travancore Devasam Board has decided that they will allow the entry of women of all ages. Now, we know about the controversy about how the board was especially, and a lot of organizations were against women of menstruating age to enter the temple. They were banning them, and this was an age-old tradition that went on. First, it went on as an unsaid rule, but later there was a Kerala High Court ruling which disallowed women between the age of 10 to 50, especially of fertile age or menstruating age, to enter. But the Travancore Devasam Board sprang a surprise on the Supreme Court yesterday, saying that now they are ready to accept the rule of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court had given a verdict which had said that men and women should have equal rights, and looking at that and the developments in various other religious places across the country, it is important that even women are allowed to offer their prayers to Lord Ayyappa. Now, it's interesting how this whole debate has been taking place. We've seen how Kerala has been on the boil. Along with Kerala, there have been other people who felt that their culture is being infringed upon, because they call it an infringement of Hindu culture, and that women, if there is a rule that Lord Ayyappa does not want to meet people, which is a rule that the Devasam Board says is something that the deity himself has passed on over the centuries to his followers, then that should be followed. But here now, this development is important and interesting. This means that now they're falling in line with the kind of protests that are being seen across the state as well as in the country. One side saying that women should be allowed, but there are also protests from Ayyappa Seva supporters or Ayyappa supporters saying that women should not be allowed. But let me also tell you that as of now, the Supreme Court has reserved their order. They have not declared as to what their verdict is. It is important to understand that when the review petition, that is a petition that was brought up again, asking the Supreme Court to review its decision once again, was brought up during the arguments, is when this development has taken place. Now, we have a few questions that have come up, and the first one let me also ask you, bring to you, is why did this sudden U-turn take place? Now, it's interesting, yes, that's what was surprising, that this U-turn took place. And also when the Kerala government, they also gave their arguments. We should also remember that the Travancore Devasam Board is also under the Devasam Ministry. There is a ministry specifically for this in the Kerala government. And when they brought about the arguments, they said that social harmony is being disturbed, and this could not be a ground to allow such kind of unconstitutional practices. People are resorting to violence, people are breaking rules, and also it's causing immense amount of unrest in the state. We did see how law and order went for a huge toss, and also how the Kerala government also had to take some stern actions. Now, this does not mean that women did not enter. We know as to that there have been several women who have tried to enter. There have been women who have entered also, and they did so, but after they came out of the temple, they did receive flack. There are the first two women also who entered, Bindu as well as Kanakadurga, both of them facing a lot of death threats today. Kanakadurga also being shunned by her family and being thrown out of her house. Those are the kind of developments where people felt that they have to retaliate of sorts, but this going out of hand. Finally, Kanakadurga did go to court, and the court allowed her inside her husband's house. But this means that there have been a lot of relations and strain, not just within the state government, within people, within political parties, but within houses of people on one side who feel that women should be given equal rights, and on the other side where women feel, people or even a lot of women who feel that they are ready to wait till the age of 50. There's a campaign also that came up. So the sudden U-turn obviously is also in the bigger interest of society, and also of to see how that there should not be a political debate on this entire thing. Now, another thing that also we have the question that also propped up is that the Kerala government said that there would be violence if the standoff continued. Is it true? Now, the Kerala government never said that. The Kerala government basically said that they asked everybody to be peaceful. Now, if you remember, Kerala's Chief Minister, Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan, had held a very detailed press conference soon after the two women who entered the Sabarimala temple for the first time. After that, there was a huge hartal that was called by the right-wing parties. There was a lot of violence in the state, and at that time he had mentioned saying that anybody indulging in violence will not be spared. There were thousands of people who were rounded up. There were thousands of arrests that took place, but that also meant that the state government's machinery was being strained. So the Kerala government had also made an appeal saying that they will follow the rule of the Supreme Court. Now the Supreme Court verdict was that women should be allowed. Now there's a review petition that is there, while now we are seeing the softening of the stand of the Kerala, especially after there was some board. Now we know also how the Tantri, or the chief priest of the Sabarimala temple, as soon as this event happened where the women entered, they conducted a purifying ritual, and even he was eased off. So that is the point. That's the kind of clashes and the kind of tension that is seen. But at the same time, we have another question saying, should women be allowed at all after this violence and ruckus? Well, that is the whole debate. The debate is, should women be allowed? So there are two things to it. One is that women feel that when you have Shani Shignapur, you have a temple there where women are now being allowed. You saw how Tripti Desai and other people also entered and tried to make a point there. We have also other temples which do not allow, but it is important for to show that there is need for equality, and that is what even we saw in terms of what the judges did to ensure and to explain as to why the reasoning behind this entire decision took place. But on the other hand, there are women who have started their own campaigns and saying that they're ready to wait till the age of 50 because it is a part of their entire campaign to say that Lord Ayyappa, who they believe and who is the main deity for lakhs and lakhs of devotees, not just in India but across the world, he is an eternal celibate, a man who has not married and has maintained celibacy all these years. And so the unwritten rule and the fact that women have been following it for traditions is for a particular reason. So why can't women wait till 50 or age of 50 and then later go and pay their prayer to Lord Ayyappa, or rather offer their prayers to Ayyappa at the temple, or before the age of 10, because that's when it is. But if I can also bring about one important argument that was brought by senior advocate Rakesh Dwivedi, who appeared on the part of the board, where he told the bench that the Supreme Court verdict was to ensure equal entitlement to men and women, and it took everyone by surprise, and that too also Justice Indu Malhotra. When asked whether the board was ready to change its stand, they said it was in affirmative. That means they were ready to do that. That surprised the board itself. So should women be allowed? As of time, that is a point of debate, with the Supreme Court reserving its verdict on the review petition, but initially also making its point clear, or its stand clear, saying yes, women should be allowed. Now going on to the next question, the community has not accepted this verdict, so can the court force it? Yes, well, but we do believe that the Supreme Court of India is our apex court. It's a court that takes decisions. And decisions are not taken based on sides. It's not taken based on political biases. It's taken after both sides are heard. And we saw how the bench at that point of time, when there was even between the bench, it was a split verdict. Yet we saw that it was in favor of the fact that women should be allowed. And well, it is a matter of belief. But this is the question that is being raised, and I've seen this especially when I've been speaking to people who believe or don't believe about it, who want to discuss and debate about it, saying that should the courts have involved in this? Well, it did reach the court based on a petition of a group of women. It's not that the courts on their own came up and took up the case. So when the petition has to be heard, they heard both sides, and they realized that possibly there is a kind of discrimination that is taking place, and the verdict was delivered. But at the same time, religious sentiments are of highest priority in our country, and we do know that such kind of areas need to be tread over very carefully. We're quite sure that the courts have taken that into account, and but but there is also a sense of fear of social boycott amongst people, especially women who may have decided to do that, because there have been cases where people who have joined several NGOs, or for example even Kanakdurga and Bindu, to enter the temple, backed out in the last minute, facing fearing that they would face social stigma, they would face violence from people, because we saw how the Ayyappa devotees were attacking people especially. But at the same time, there is a need, and there is a need to change or change what is happening within society, and that is why such a decision was taking place. So basically what we have seen in this entire whole debate, especially of entry of women in Sabarimala, is that the court feels that now the women entry is an internal matter of the community. It should be handled carefully, and we'll only have to now wait and watch and see how the courts will deliver their verdict. And the Devasam board, now that they have shown their affirmation that they will allow women, hopefully the rest of society and the communities also will have to, otherwise it will be a breach of the court order, and that means it would lead to a law and order issue. So the Kerala government also now trying to softly soft pedal this entire issue and try to see that there is peace and calm, because we have to remember one thing in the background on all this, that the Lok Sabha elections are coming up, and it is important to understand that Kerala is a place, it's a boiling pot, especially when it comes to the BJP trying to make inroads. It has become a political issue, with the CPM taking a stand saying they're open to this women's entry, while the BJP taking another stand. But the Congress Rashtriya remaining quite silent, or rather the UTF also for that matter. But this will have its effect on the Lok Sabha elections and the people and the voting trends. Well, thank you everyone. Thank you for your questions, and we're happy to answer more. You can please keep posting continuously, and we will continue to answer these questions at ThePrint. Thank you so much for joining us.